What to do if you're suffering anxiety. Now, today I really wanted to talk a little bit further about anxiety and some of the things that we can do when we feel like we're starting to suffer anxiety. Now, anxiety comes in many different forms for different people, and they suffer anxiety as a result of many different things. Some people get it in their chest and become very tight, almost like they're having a heart attack or asthma turns. Some people get tight in the throat. I know a lot of people that actually suffer anxiety in the gut and in their stomach region. And these are sort of things that cause your body to really contract and that really affect us in our daily life and functioning in sort of a normal way, because anxiety is something that is sort of created by a lot of fears and things that kind of rise up, and the feelings and emotions that are sort of going on inside us. Now, in order to push through anxiety, it's not an easy thing sometimes to do, and sometimes you can do simple things like exercise, meditation. There's a lot of sort of first aid treatments, I guess you could call those, that are quick fixes, and I've got a couple of videos with some of these tips in them on anxiety. But sometimes anxiety can really get a hold of us and we're not quite sure how to sort of deal with these things. Now, some people might get to the point where they need a psychologist to talk to, and sometimes by talking about the problems and the fears that are rising up in us and the things that are sort of coming up and playing up in our mind and sort of going over and over like the mouse wheel, if we get somebody to talk to that's often objective, that can definitely help when you're suffering anxiety. Some people will need medicating. I know a lot of teenagers suffer things before they go into their year 12 exams, and people have anxieties before job interviews. So sometimes people do get to the point where if they're continuously having anxiety, they will actually need medication, and medication can really help because it can help to relieve that pain and those sort of fears that do rise up and create these feelings in the body. So anxiety is actually a really common problem out there. I know a lot of people myself that suffer anxiety. I've never really suffered anxiety throughout my life until I would say the last couple of years. I've actually had quite a few bouts of anxiety where I felt very tight in the chest, and it was a real shock for me because I never realised that it actually is such a physical thing in the body. So when you are suffering anxiety, sort of reach out and tell people about it too, because sometimes when you talk about things with your family or your friends, or like I said, find a psychologist, that can really help to relieve some of these feelings of anxiety, because often it's our thoughts and what we're sort of creating. I mean, a lot of people kind of can live in the past and they're worrying about the future, and instead of actually sort of staying present in the now. And these are the kind of things that create anxiety in the body, is when we're worrying or we're thinking about the past and we're hanging on to old memories or things that never made us feel good. There's so many reasons that people suffer anxiety, but look, anxiety, I feel, is becoming more of a problem in the way we live our lives these days, because we're all a lot busier and life seems to be getting faster. Every year it's getting faster, and even our kids are talking about sort of how fast it's getting. And it's actually like we actually need to start to really slow our lives down and just really enjoy those small moments that we have. And sometimes you've got to actually create those moments, like just having fun with your kids, just relaxing on the weekends and not rushing around everywhere. I know that we all get really busy and everybody's guilty of that. But if you're suffering any sort of anxiety, the biggest tip that I'll give you is that you really need to learn to slow down your life and really start to practice being in the now and being really present where you are, because these are the things that slow your mind down and stop your thoughts from racing away, and they're the things that help to relieve and release that pain, but also really help to relieve that anxiety that's actually going on in your body. So look, hopefully some of these tips might help you when you are suffering anxiety, because it is really uncomfortable, and I do feel that it's definitely on the increase. There's a lot more people suffering anxiety out there, and people hide it very well too. And if it does go on for prolonged periods of time, it can actually lead to depression, and eventually some people will suicide as well, because the pain and the contractions can become so uncomfortable in the body. But hopefully some of these tips help you today, and if you'd like to hit the like button below, that would be great, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.